Joining me now to talk about it is political analyst Peter Mathews. Always good to have you with us. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Natalie. Good to be with you again.
Let's start with President Trump crafting a July 4th celebration centered around the military. Should guns and the military be celebrated in this way, in your opinion, in a country that was founded on ideals, not so much the military?
In fact, I don't think it should be, because the ideals are much more important in terms of today's commemoration. Well, military is important when it comes to a certain war, defending the country, but the ideals are what America is about. And the Declaration of Independence that we celebrate says that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. These are really important words that Thomas Jefferson wrote, and those should be focused on. Is the U.S. guaranteeing the natural rights to its people? We have a problem with the Trump economy. I mean, while there's been some growth, there's still been a huge gap between rich and poor. That's what the growth in inequality has also been growing. And you have trade wars at the horizon. A lot of things have to be fixed, and not to mention the country being divided due to Trump's leadership.
Well, before he spoke, the president's appearance on the Mall drew criticism from Democrats and members of the military, some of them, who accused him of using the troops and equipment as little more than political props. Why do you think the president staged his celebration this way?
I think that he thinks this will really keep his base of voters with him when it comes November the year after next. Next year, I should say. And that's the thing he's looking at, is the election, but also he somehow seems to take the super patriotism to an extreme, and at the same time covering up the problems that we have in the country. You know, he should be bringing people together, not hammering away at illegal immigration, and he should be working on what happened at the border, Natalie, those kids being torn from their parents and sitting in those cages. You know, that's not an ideal this country could project to the world, when we're the country with natural rights, that believe in natural rights. He should go back to the American ideal of protecting human rights and natural rights. So maybe the military overuse of that is a way for him to hide from what's really going on.
Yeah, a Democrat senator who served in the military remarked, tanks aren't props. They're weapons of war. The president, of course, flanked by tanks when he spoke. However, he did deliver a message that was unifying, Peter, not political. And here's part of it. We are one people chasing one dream and one magnificent destiny. We all share the same heroes, the same home, the same heart. Well, a poignant, hopeful message from President Trump, who is often seen as a divider. Was that encouraging?
Well, the words were beautiful, and he stuck to the script, and that's one reason he didn't get in the problem. But the thing is, what are his actions? That's what should count, and the script was beautiful today. But the actions have to be followed through, and that is to unite people, to settle these problems and not divide us along economic lines and ethnic and racial lines. The president needs to become a uniter-in-chief, not a divider-in-chief. It's very important for the American ideal of being a nation of immigrants. I don't see this happening. It hasn't happened for 2.5 years, and who knows it'll happen next year or so. So the words could be beautiful. The actions are more important, Natalie.
Right. This country has been struggling to feel unified under this president. What else would you have liked to hear from him on this day?
I'd like to have heard from him about some of the economic problems we're facing, and to say that it's important to provide economic opportunity, because the American dream cannot be realized by anyone unless the economy is fair and shared prosperity exists for everyone, not just for the top half of the country, which is mainly the situation with Trump. The Trump economy has helped the top 10% much more than the rest of us. Even his tax cuts were geared to the top 1%. 85% of the tax cuts went to the top 1%. That's not fairness or opportunity, which America stands for. I'd like him to address that more honestly and then say what he could do to fix that. It's extremely important for Americans to know that he cares about all of us, not just a few at the top, especially his donors.
Well, there were donors in the crowd for sure, and there were a lot of supporters of Mr. Trump. There were also protesters as well. Was this mobilizing for his base? And will we perhaps see this visual when we see the political ads for the next presidential election?
Absolutely. He thinks that by holding on to that base of 37%, which, by the way, are a number of Americans that say they're going to vote for him, 37% is not enough to win, but he thinks he can do that like he did before with the Electoral College. And he wants that 37%. He can't win without them at all, but he needs to expand that base. And look at these pictures of the fire right there and the violence that's directed, because people are so upset, and it's wrong that this happened. But, you know, he needs to really bring people together, and his base won't be enough, Natalie, for him to win again. And if he thinks he's going to rely on that, it's not. He may have something else coming, actually.
Political analyst Peter Mathews, we always appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Good to be here.